guys, I hope that you guys are doing amazing wherever you are in the world. My name is Boom Shaka and I'm grateful that you guys are watching my videos and subscribing and commenting. I hope that you guys are learning from my videos. That's my main wish with these videos. I know a lot of times I'm just rambling and talking nonsense, but I hope that I've been able to convey my ideas to you guys. In this video, I want to speak to you guys about our obsession as an INFJ with people watching and why I think we like to people watch. As an INFJ, we don't like to do anything unless there's a real purpose to it, right? We're the kind of people that we're going to do something because we really care about it, because it seems like something that's going to either make us grow as a human being or is going to help us progress in a certain manner, or there's some kind of need or desire for it in the world, right? We're not just going to do something for the sake of doing it. It seems like a complete waste to us, a waste of time, a waste of energy, a waste of whatever. But I've been noticing that a lot of INFJs that I've been speaking to have been saying the same thing to me over and over again. It's the same kind of refrain that happens, that all INFJs, or a lot of INFJs, love to people watch. It's such a simple thing, and it's something that a lot of people have told me that they hate to do, right? And a lot of them are obviously not INFJs. I actually tell certain people, the reason I travel is to people watch. I don't really travel. Well, two reasons. I travel because I love to eat different foods and I love trying out foods from different cultures. So that's one of the main reasons I travel. But the second main reason the second reason is because I love to people watch. I think I love to people watch for several different reasons, but the main reason when I travel I people watch is to learn about their culture. I think the main way, one of the really easy ways to learn about anyone's culture, any new culture, is to just go to a really busy spot in that city, in that country. Go to a spot where there's loads of the locals, the local people, the people from that city, from that culture, and just sit down somewhere where you can just sit and watch them for a couple hours, a day, 2 days, 3 days, 7 days, whatever it might be. And just by the act of sitting down and watching these people, sitting down, standing up, watching these people, these individuals go about their days, doing their thing, living their life, that's going to teach you so much more about the culture, I feel, than anything else you could really do. Now, of course, I love reading about cultures and I love reading blogs on cultures as well, so I learn more about cultures and countries that way. But my main thing about anything, about any culture, about anything that I want to learn, is I want to go to that country and learn about it. There's so many things that deceive us or tell us that, you're not going to like something or you're going to love something, and then you actually go to the country and you're like, For example, I loved my recent trip to Tokyo and to Japan. Mainly, I spent most of my time in Tokyo, but I loved it. It was so easy to travel there. People were really nice, surprisingly. Yes, they were a little bit aloof and a little bit cold, but I think it's because they're shy and they're afraid to speak the language. But if I ever asked anyone for help, even though they didn't speak the language, they really tried to help me. But before I went to Tokyo, before I went to Japan, I asked a couple of people about it, and every single person, or a lot of people actually told me not to go because it's really difficult to travel there because no one speaks English and no one's going to help you and blah, 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 right? The same thing happens to me when I go to any other place. I actually have stopped asking people for opinions on, what they think about the country, because it really doesn't make any sense to me. Every single person has their own idea, their own opinion about what a country is going to be like, right? I'm sure people have come to Thailand or to Chiang Mai and said they hated it. And I absolutely love it, and I don't want to live anywhere else in the world, right? And so, instead of making this a travel rant, I just want to say that I don't believe in anyone else says anything about any country or any culture or anything like that. I want to go and experience it for myself. I think that's the reason why I love people watching so much, and I think the reason why INFJs love people watching so much is because I feel like it helps sharpen our people skills, helps sharpen our knowledge about people. Now, of course, I do it because I want to learn about different cultures, but sometimes I'll just watch people just because I want to learn about how they interact with each other. Recently, I've been, obsessed or really, really interested in learning more about love. All kinds of love, not just sexual love or erotic love, but also agape, the unconditional love, or the kind of love that we have for ourselves, or the love that we have for our friends, things like that. I'm always interested in learning about that. And so what I'll do is I'll kind of go to a spot and I'll just sit and watch couples. Now, I'm not doing it because I want to send bad vibes towards them, or I want to, make fun of them or anything. I'm just doing it because I want to learn about how individuals who are in relationships interact with each other. You know, what do they do? Do they touch each other's hair, or do they pat each other's back, or do they, you know, entangle their hands into each other, or do they kiss each other in public? Are they afraid to kiss each other? Are they interested in PDAs, public displays of affection, or not? You know, there's so much to learn about an individual just by watching them. And so I've been going and I've been watching couples who are obviously in love, or maybe who are not in love but who are together, and kind of noticing them and observing them to learn more about who they are, what they are, and all that. And that observation, that act of observing that individual, or observing the couple, or observing people, that act itself gives an INFJ a sense of what the individual is about, but also what the culture is about, or what the country is about, or what the city is about. It gives us a sense, and it kind of teaches us about the people that we're observing. Not only is this important because, you know, as INFJs, we are completely socially awkward, so we have no idea how to behave in public. And so I think a lot of my watching couples in love is because I have no idea how to behave with someone who I'm in love with. And so maybe I'll watch these people and I'll learn about how people behave like when they're in love. You know, I have no idea what I'm supposed to be doing. The same thing when I watch friends together, or just people, families together. You know, I kind of observe them to figure out what do they behave like? How are they with each other? What do they do when they're together? What do friends behave like? How do they talk to each other? You know, things like that. Because not only does it teach me about them and about people in general, but it also teaches me that, you know, this is how normal people behave. So when you go and you're, you know, hanging out with a friend or a family, this is how you're supposed to be behaving. This is what you're supposed to be doing. I know you don't know that as an INFJ because you're socially awkward, but this is how you're supposed to be doing things. It also obviously helps with our chameleon mode. So as you guys know, we always go into this chameleon mode when we are unsure of our surroundings, or unsure of the people that are around us. We don't know how to behave with them, so we kind of go into this chameleon mode where we kind of observe the people around us and take on their characteristics. The same thing happens to us when we are in an unfamiliar situation and we're people watching. For example, when I went to Japan recently, there was a lot of things that are going around me culture-wise that I was unsure about. I didn't know how to behave. I didn't know what was appropriate, what was not appropriate. And so I just played chameleon mode, right? I kind of went into my chameleon mode. I kind of observed what was going on around me. You know, I saw that people weren't drinking in public, or like drinking water even, or even like they don't carry cups around with them like Starbucks and all that stuff. They sit down and drink those. I think it's a sign of low class if you drink or eat in public, but not only that, if you eat and drink while walking. And so people don't do that. That's the reason there's not really a big street food culture either, except for tourist spots. So I observed that and I was like, all right, cool. And not that I'm a big coffee drinker or a tea drinker anyways, but I observed that and I said, okay, people don't do that. Locals aren't doing it, so I guess I won't do it either. So whenever I did grab a drink, I'd always sit down somewhere and try to drink it there rather than walking and drinking, or eating and drinking, right? Or eating and walking. And it's a very simple thing. It's not really a big deal. If you do it, it's fine. You're a tourist. Everyone knows that I'm a tourist. I was like a head taller than most of the people around me. Just because they're really tiny there. Well, not tiny. I'm just really tall compared to them. But also I look very different, obviously, right? I mean, I'm definitely not Japanese looking. So people would always tell that I'm a tourist. So it's not really a big deal. They would be like, well, she says they're just tourists. They don't know what they're doing, really. But really, as an INFJ, we like to emulate the people around us. So if I'm in a new culture, I'm not going to do something that's going to be offensive to them, right? And that's, again, one of the reasons why we love to people watch, is because we watch the people around us, we observe them, we see what they're doing, we see what's appropriate, what's inappropriate, and then we follow that. We follow that schedule, we follow those terms and conditions, you know, and we kind of just go along with the crowd. Now, of course, it's funny because, you know, we're not really going along with the crowd kind of people, but we don't also want to be offensive to the people around us. It doesn't make any sense to me to be necessarily offensive to culture that I'm visiting. I'm a tourist there. They are the ones who live there. So why would I go in and deliberately be offensive to these people, or deliberately go and do something that would offend them? It doesn't make any sense, right? So I tried very hard to inculcate myself with the culture, because it was a temporary thing. I can come back here in Chiang Mai or go back to Toronto and eat and drink while I walk, or do whatever I want. But over there, it's their culture and I'm a guest there, and so I need to make sure that I follow their culture. You know, I don't want to be rude. The reason I wanted to do this video as an INFJ or as an individual is because I get a lot of people telling me, and this is again one of those stupid things that I don't understand why people always have to put their nose into everyone else's business. But one of the main things I like to do, as I said, is to people watch. Even when I'm in Chiang Mai, I'll go to a spot and I'll sit and people watch. Or when I travel, I people watch. Or when I'm back in Toronto, people watch. And a lot of people have made fun of me for that because it's really, it seems like a very passive, non-useful, a useless kind of activity, really, if you think about it. If you think about it from an outsider's perspective, I'm just sitting there passively, absorbing what's coming at me. I'm not really doing anything interesting. Or that's what people imagine. Whereas where I'm sitting there, there's so much information coming at me, and I'm kind of integrating all that information, learning from it, and using that information to become a better, stronger individual. So for me, people watching is a very active, interesting activity. But other people have always made fun of me because I people watch a lot. I think that's one of the things I want to do every single day, all the time. And my ex used to make fun of me for that as well. All of my exes have made fun of me for that. All the people that travel with me always make fun of me for that as well. And so I really just wanted to do this video to tell you guys, it is not a waste of time. You're not wasting your time by people watching. You're not wasting your time by people watching. It's all right. It actually gets us a lot of information. It's actually really useful for us to people watch because it teaches us so much, not only about, as I said, about ourselves as an individual, but also about the culture that we're in, about the people that are surrounding us, about people, how they move, how they interact with each other, about couples, how they interact with each other. There's so much information that comes from the process of people watching. And so don't be afraid of it. Don't feel bad if you spend your time people watching. It's all right. It's actually a really useful activity for an INFJ. And I implore you guys to do more and more of it because you're going to learn more about the people around you. And any kind of information about people or yourself or things like that, I think is useful for our growth process. Saying that, I think that sometimes it can be a very passive activity. You're just sitting there in a daze like a zombie. So if you do learn something from it, kind of integrate it within yourself. Don't just sit there and be a zombie. Actually watch people and observe them and use that information to make yourself better. Again, if you guys have any questions at all, please let me know. Again, I am not an expert in any of this, obviously. I do these videos because I really just love talking about the subject, and I obviously love to talk. And so I do these videos for that reason. So I'm not an expert. If something seems wrong or doesn't jive with you, then it's probably not right for you. And so that makes absolute sense. Not all of these topics are going to jive with you. Not all of these topics are going to make sense to you. Not all of these topics are going to be accurate for you. And so if they're not, just ignore it and move on to the next video. All right. Again, if you guys have any questions, message me anytime. All my contact information is in the description below. And I shall see you guys the next time around. Bye for now.